You've heard the saying, right? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's a classic. But what really happens when that power, we're talking the literal power of life and death, lands in the hands of a teenager who's so smart he starts to think he's a god? Well, that's the dark, twisted question at the very heart of Death Note.
And I want you to really think about that for a second. What would you do if you had a way to get rid of anyone you thought was worthless, with zero chance of getting caught? Would you use it? That's the terrifying idea this whole story is built on.
So, where does a story like this even begin? Well, not in our world. We start in this bleak, empty place, the realm of the Shinigami, the gods of death. And for our guy Ryuk here, an all-powerful being, it is just soul-crushingly, mind-numbingly boring.
And what's wild is that you find that exact same boredom down in the human world. Meet Light Yagami. He's a genius, top of his class, future so bright he needs shades. But on the inside, he's just as bored as Ryuk. He looks around at the world and all he sees is a rotten, broken mess.
So, what's a bored god of death to do? He decides to stir the pot a little. For fun. He drops his Death Note into the human world just to see what kind of mess it'll make. And this one single object is about to link these two bored souls and basically set the entire planet on fire. All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with the God's little game, see the first kills, get into the epic battle between God and detective, talk about the morality of it all, geek out over the art, and then we'll get to the final verdict.
Okay, first up, a God's idle game. This is where it all begins. With a simple little notebook, a kid who finds it, and a set of rules that are anything but simple.
Now, the Death Note isn't just some magic weapon. It has rules. Very specific, almost lawyer-like rules. And here's the big one. You have to know the person's name and be able to picture their face. That's so important. It means every kill is deliberate. It has to be personal. And when you open it, that first rule is just chilling. The human whose name is written in this note shall die. That's it. No wiggle room. And if you don't write down a cause of death, they just have a heart attack in 40 seconds. Clean, quiet, and absolutely terrifying. So when a super genius like Light finds this thing, of course, his first reaction is to roll his eyes. He thinks it's a prank, a really well-made but stupid joke. But then he keeps reading, and the rules are so detailed, so precise, that a tiny voice in his head starts going, "But what if?" And he just can't let it go. And that little what if brings us to our next section, the first judgments. This is where curiosity turns into horrifying proof, and Light Yagami crosses a line he can never, ever uncross. So there he is, in his room, watching the news. There's a story about a criminal holding kids hostage. And, almost on a whim, he writes the guy's name down. He starts a stopwatch. 40 seconds later, a breaking news banner flashes on the screen. The suspect just dropped dead of a heart attack. The shock is real. And the first thing that goes through his head is, am I a murderer? Now, for a split second, he's horrified. But this is the thing about Light. His genius is his biggest flaw. His brain doesn't get stuck on guilt. It immediately jumps to the next step. It sees a problem, this rotten world, and it sees a solution. He is the solution. He has the tool to fix everything. And there it is, the justification. He convinces himself it's not murder, it's justice. This is the moment a brilliant but powerless kid gets his hands on ultimate power. The moral crisis lasts all of 5 minutes, and then it's replaced by the cold, hard certainty of a brand new god.
Which leads us to part 3, God versus the detective. Because when hundreds of criminals start dropping dead from heart attacks all over the world, people, well, they start to notice. And this kicks off one of the greatest battles of wits you'll ever see.
So, in one corner, you've got Light Yagami, who the internet starts calling Kira. To his fans, he's a savior. And in the other corner, you have L, the world's greatest detective. A complete mystery, this eccentric genius who believes in one thing. The law is the law, and Kira is a murderer. So while Light's just chillin', watching his Kira persona become this global phenomenon, the world's police are completely stumped. I mean, how do you catch a killer who can strike anyone, anywhere, without leaving a single trace? You don't. They're desperate, so they call in their secret weapon, the one person who might stand a chance, the faceless legend known only as L. And L's first move? It is absolutely genius. He gets a death row inmate to go on TV pretending to be him and basically just dares Kira to make a move. But, and here's the brilliant part,
That broadcast only aired in one very specific region of Japan. Light, being arrogant, takes the bait immediately. He kills the decoy, and in that one move, L proves that Kira is in that city and that he needs a name and a face. The game is officially on.
And our Shinigami pal Ryuk is just eating this up with a spoon. He knows this isn't just a regular cat-and-mouse game. This is a duel to the death. The stakes couldn't be higher. For both Light and L, the rule is simple. The first one to find out the other's true identity wins. The loser dies.
Okay, let's zoom out for a bit, because beyond this incredible thriller plot, Death Note is constantly asking us some really uncomfortable questions about justice, crime, and where we draw our own moral lines.
This scene at Interpol just says it all. You've got the top law enforcement officials on the planet literally screaming at each other. One guy says, "This is mass murder, pure and simple." And another one shoots back, "But he's only killing the worst criminals." Kira didn't just break the world's laws, he broke the world's sense of right and wrong.
And that's the genius of the story. It never gives you an easy answer. It shows you both sides so clearly. I mean, what Light is doing, it actually works. Crime rates across the globe plummet. The world is, by the numbers, a safer place. But the price of that safety is one person having the power of judge, jury, and executioner. So do the ends justify the means?
Now, the what of this story is amazing, but the how is just as important. The plot is legendary, sure, but it's the art by Takashi Obata that turns this whole thing into a masterclass in suspense.
Seriously, the art is doing so much of the heavy lifting here. It's showing you what the characters are feeling without a single word. When Light is feeling the pressure, the panels get tight, dark, almost claustrophobic. But then you'll see L, and he's always in these huge, empty spaces, which perfectly shows how isolated and alone he is. It's just brilliant visual storytelling.
Okay, it's time for our final verdict. We've seen the game, we've seen the players, we've seen the fallout. So why is Death Note still such a big deal? What makes it stick with you?
It's really just a perfect storm, you know? You have one of the greatest rivalries in fiction, period. You have these massive moral questions that people still debate today. You get two of the most iconic characters ever created, and you wrap it all up in a story that is just nonstop, high-stakes tension from beginning to end.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that first question. But it's different now, isn't it? After seeing everything Light went through, the temptation, the corruption, the power, all of it, the question feels a lot more real. So I'll ask you one more time, knowing what you know now. If that notebook fell at your feet, would you pick it up?